let's look at the exam technique. Now, ironically, the first thing I'm going to tell you is exactly what I did earlier on. As soon as I was given a time limit, I panicked. And I panicked because I knew there was a time limit. Don't panic. Panicking doesn't help you and will make it more tricky, and it stops your mind from working as well, which is exactly what happened to me. So normally I think I could have named probably 10 hats easily in that time. Because I was panicking, I only came up with a few. So it's really important to try and stay calm. And my biggest top tip always, actually, in life generally, is to smile. Because when you smile, it naturally makes you feel happier and calmer, and it just calms you down a bit. So there's no harm when you first get told to start to actually just take a second, relax your shoulders and smile. Then when you get going, work quickly and efficiently. You will find each section is given to you with a certain amount of time, and you'll be warned about when the time's coming to an end. So you need to work quickly through that section. Now, what I mean by efficiently is if you get to a question that just makes absolutely no sense to you, there's no point spending your whole time, say you've got 10 minutes for that section, spending 10 minutes on the one word you don't understand, the one question you can't answer. So there may be all the other questions in that section you could answer. So move on. Move on, don't worry about it. I very much doubt anyone would get all the questions right. So it's not a problem if you have a few questions that you think, no, it's better that I move on from that. What I would say is, just moving on to the third point, always answer multiple choice questions. So if you've got a choice of answers, you might as well have a go. If there are 4 answers, if you leave them blank, you're definitely wrong. No points for that question. If you've got a 25% chance or a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right, if you just have a guess. I do have to give a quick word of warning, though, from my own daughter's experience, which thankfully she verbalised to me before doing the test when I was talking to her about how to approach it, and that just have a guess if you don't know. It's always better to put something. Her immediate thought was, oh, shall I just go through the whole thing guessing and then go back over and see if I can answer them? Please don't do that. Thankfully, she didn't. Do try and answer it. Think about the meaning, think about understanding, answer it the best way you can to start with. If you don't know it, have a guess. Read every question carefully, and I talked about this earlier. That is so important. And again, one of my students who's on with us now is probably going to be smirking to herself because we had this conversation last week as she misread a question. And it was a question she could easily answer, but it's also easy to get it wrong if you think the instructions are different to what they are. So just read the instructions carefully. Often you will get an example. Look at it. Don't think, oh, I don't need that. I'll just get on with it. Look at the example.
I think one of the things that can be easiest to mistake is synonym and antonym.
Definitely.
Because if you're on a roll with synonym and suddenly they change it and you've not noticed.
Yeah, that can be a really easy mistake to make. So it's better to spend a little bit of time reading the questions carefully and the instructions, and then get on with the questions and actually be answering them in the right way, than skim read, not read it properly and answer all the questions wrong because you thought you were asked to do something else. And then finally, know what to expect. So have an idea of what the exam process is going to be like. What's it going to be like on the day? Will you probably you'll turn up, you'll be greeted by very friendly, lovely people. It's not an environment where they're trying to be mean to you, make you feel uncomfortable.
No malevolent grins.
No malevolent
grins.
No
malevolent grinning.
Absolutely, no.
They're all genuine.
Very genuine, yes. It is going to be a slightly unnerving environment possibly for you, and it's a different experience, so that's okay, except that you are going to feel a bit like that. And then no, so will it be that you'll sit an hour, and I'm not going to explain it exactly because different areas in the country do it slightly differently, but it might be that you get there, you get an introduction, then you do an hour's test, and then you have a little break, and I think quite often they give you a drink and maybe even some chocolate biscuits, and then you have another hour and do it. So it might be like that. But the other thing is, don't get too bogged down on exactly what it's going to be like. No one knows that. No one knows exactly which questions are going to come. We can't tell you. It'll be this question, then that question, then that question. It's going to be a mixture of what you've been working on and what you already know. So don't get too bogged down with it all. I would say to the adults, they're the ones that are going to find out where you've got to be, when you've got to be there. That's not your responsibility as the child. You're just going to be using your brain power to answer those questions and put your knowledge over. Show what you already know. So again, my top tip, smile. It may not be the easiest thing to do when you're feeling all nervous and anxious, thinking, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? But smiling can help to lower your heart rate and calm you down. So that is so important to remember that.
And that's us. So thank you ever so much. We're so pleased that you managed to join us. If you're watching this on catch up, then thank you. I hope you managed to take part in all the little activities. This is your moment now when you get to that 11 plus to really show off all that you know in that big, powerful, brilliant brain of yours, and to show off what you know with vocabulary. We want to be able to help you, so do have a look at what we're doing. You get a free trial, so there's no reason why you can't just go on and play for a couple of days, see if we can help boost your vocabulary for that 11 plus. And every success. Thank you for joining us. We wish you all the very best with that exam in September. And if it's coming around for you next year, then you've got a year of vocab boosting fun ahead of you. So I hope that there's been some good ideas for you here. Big thanks to Liz.
No problem.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.